Hello.
We just got back from Côn Đảo trip.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Just earlier today.
How
It
do
was
you
fun.
feel about Côn Đảo?
It was awesome. It was way different than I had expected. I I guess I expected it just to be kind of a regular beach, like kind of like football, except for smaller. But it was totally different than anywhere I've been in Vietnam for a few reasons. First of all, because it was so clean, like there wasn't any garbage, even a speck of garbage when you went out. Um, and I think one reason for that is just because the people on the island are so invested in protecting the environment. There are signs everywhere that say throw away your trash. Um, Another reason for that is because there's very few people out and about, surprisingly, even though the people on the island tend to have a lot of money. From the people we met, that seems to be the trend.
Yeah.
But
Out about, what does it mean?
out and about,
Yeah.
like outside, going around, spending time in parks, hanging out, basically.
Oh,
There was none of that. We didn't see any of that.
okay.
From talking to locals, what it seems like is that there's a really intense work ethic on the island. So people there tend to really work extremely hard and
So you
not,
feel like in Japan, right? People in Japan working so hard.
I guess, like in Japan. I've never been to Japan, but yeah, I've never been to Japan, but yeah, that's the idea that I get. Um,
And it's very safe.
It's extremely safe. One of the things that Yuki kept noticing is that people left their bikes, in front of their houses or even at an empty part of the island, like near a beach, parked, not locked or anything, and no one watching the bike, but they weren't worried about anyone stealing the bike or anything like that. They would even sometimes leave the keys in the bike, just sitting there by the side of the road, and not worry about any kind of thief or any crimes. So that was amazing.
Yeah. Like the security job gonna be like unemployed in that island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're a security guard, you should probably look for a new job if you want to move to Gondao. I don't think that would be a great career path there. Um, we related to what I said about people not really going and hanging out very much. So last night we were there in Gondao. We went to a bar, and the bar was run by a guy who had studied in Saigon, but he's from Gondao. So when he was in Saigon, he saw the bar culture here, and he wanted to go back to Gondao and do that there. But he's been trying really hard for the past 2 years to get it off the ground, and he says that really his only customers are Westerners, essentially, and people that are not Vietnamese, but he barely has any Vietnamese customers. So he's closing at the end of this month. And we talked to one other guy who's been living in Gondao for 40 years. He was like 62 years old. And he told us that no bars really succeed in Gondao. Like, there have been a ton of bars that have come and gone during his time, and they never last more than a year or two, tops. So, leisure and entertainment businesses like that just don't really survive in Gondao, it seems. Yeah, like I said, partially it's because of the insane work ethic and people working all the time. Partly it's because the island population is so small. I don't know how big off the top of my head, but it seems like 95% of the land on the island is controlled by the government because there are no houses on that land. So, as you can imagine, the population on the island can only grow so big when there's only a little bit of space for residences.
So, like people want to know more about the beauty of the Iceland.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, it's super beautiful, of course, since it's so few people, and also the island is pretty remote. It's like a 2-hour ferry away from the nearest part of the mainland of Vietnam. Since it's so untouched, the water is very blue, the beaches are very white, the forests are really just untamed. You can hear birdsong. There are monkeys walking around everywhere. Driving around the southern tip of the island, or the western tip of the island, is really nice. They're just you're driving on one long road around the tip, and there are a lot of nice beaches and points and kind of landmarks in the forest that you could see. There's a really nice cafe at the very tip of this western tip. It's called Sinvin Cafe. It has detox drinks and food. It's a really nice place to hang out and watch the sunset. They also organize a trash cleanup twice a week.
Is that like Tyson?
Tyson. That's what I said, right?
No, you said
Sinvin.
Sinvin means student.
Yeah.
Tyson means like I forgot.
Right. Sunset.
Yeah, not really
I
sunset.
don't
Like
know.
reborn.
Rebirth. Okay,
Yeah.
rebirth. Anyway, they organize a trash cleanup on Saturday and Sunday, where locals and tourists will help them to clean up trash on the beaches and in the waters or on the island. It's really nice. Definitely drive around the western part of the island if you ever visit Con Đao, which I would recommend doing. The eastern part of the island is not so nice, partly because it is the part of the island that is hit by hurricanes sometimes, and also just because the land on that part of the island is much steeper and harder to build on. On the eastern part of the island, there's an ultra-exclusive resort called Six Senses Con Đao that costs thousands of dollars a night for some rooms, and it's the kind of place where celebrities will go to stay. But other than that, on the eastern side, there's really not much going on compared to the western side, at least.
What do you feel about human there?
I mean, it was sort of hard for me to tell because from the people we met, nobody who was born on the island speaks English. Everybody who we met who spoke English, or even a little bit of English, was from elsewhere. The people that worked at Hanoi are from Buon Ma Thuot. We met someone from Saigon who speaks English. We met someone from Hanoi that speaks English. But yeah, all the locals that were born on the island that we met, they didn't speak English at all. So yeah, it was difficult for me to tell in that respect. But they seemed very friendly. They seemed hardworking, but they seemed to be proud of their island rightfully so. And yeah, I wish I could have conversed with them more.
Mm, yeah, like I want to stay more in that island.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back there.
Yeah, I also feel really like it. Yeah, do you think it's gonna be the a place that you wanna live for a while?
No.
You still live Ho Chi Minh City.
Yeah, I mean, one reason is because maybe the most important thing to me about being an expat and living the expat lifestyle is that I want to be able to bond with the locals, make friends with locals, and I feel like it would be really hard on Condao, especially if I don't speak fluently.
Yeah.
Especially with the people there, it was hard to speak any Vietnamese. Their accents felt very difficult to understand.
If you
More than Saigon.
If you have can speak Vietnamese fluently, what do you think?
I mean, still probably no. It's not really an exciting place. Like I really liked visiting there, but I would probably get very bored living there. You know, there's not much to do.
Yeah, I wish they have more like activity in the ocean.
Yeah. I mean, we heard that ocean sports there are actually illegal. The government doesn't want people to do ocean sports, partly because the currents around Condao are apparently very strong, so it's a safety issue. Even more, I guess, like traditional ocean activities like fishing are not allowed on most days. There are certain days that the government says it's okay because the water is safe today. But most days, those kinds of activities are also restricted.
How about human? They really
Devout, yeah.
devout.
One of the coolest things on the island, other than the nature, is the cemetery. There's a really big cemetery that has a lot of war heroes. Vo Ti Sao is there, and a lot of others. The cemetery is open later into the night. It's open till 12, and Yuki and I went there at 9 o'clock. Most cemeteries in Vietnam will be empty at 9 o'clock, but the cemetery there at 9 o'clock was still busy. It had lots of people who were bringing flowers and other offerings to certain graves. So it felt like that's kind of what one of the activities people will do in the evening there, is that they'll just go pay their respects instead of going out to a bar or anything like that, because the culture is very devout. Condao is kind of known as one of the most sacred places in Vietnam when it comes to praying for ancestors, and the people of Condao really embody that devoutness.
Yeah. How about the food in the isolated island like that?
Well, I mean, island food is never great in my experience because most islands don't really grow that many things. They have to get everything from outside, including Condao. It doesn't grow much. Firstly, because it's an island, and secondly, because it only has red dirt, which is like volcanic dirt, I think, and it's hard to grow anything on. So they grow some vegetables on the mountain. They grow a few fruits. They don't raise any livestock on the island. So, I mean, obviously fishing is huge there. So they do have a lot of fish, but the food for the most part was pretty simple, kind of felt kind of bland. They don't have a ton of restaurants. Most people who live there cook at home. So I don't know what they're making at home. Maybe it's better than what we have. I'm sure it is. But the restaurant options weren't great. And they were kind of expensive compared to the mainland, understandably.
Yeah. So what do you think about like several a lot of like magazine so that is one of the most beautiful islands to go to the honeymoon, just to one of the best places you should visit once in your life.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, if you're going to visit Southeast Asia, which I think everyone should at some point in their life, it's a very unique, it's a different look from the rest of the world. If you're going to visit Southeast Asia, Koh Tao is a great place. It's clean, it's safe, it's not the cheapest, but a lot of tourists are okay with paying a bit more if it means that they're in a place that's very safe and hygienic. It has beautiful beaches and beautiful forests, so you really get to enjoy the best of what Southeast Asia has to offer outside of cities, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for your time.
Yep.
Yeah. See ya.